Say, tell Abraham who the chosen people would be.
The chosen people?
Yes.
The Jews.
Right. Which come out of whose seed?
Isaac.
Oh, okay, good. Very good. So.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and thanks to Yahweh Yahushai for giving us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we need today to bring us back to our nationality and our original language, which is the Hebrew language. Tonight's class that we're going to go into is the history of the Hebrew, where it came from, the meaning of the hieroglyphics, and how they came about with certain words that they have today. So today we're going to go into the scripture, we're going to go into the Old Testament, mainly in the book of Genesis, and we're going to go into also the books that you've seen earlier. We're going to go into how the Hebrew language grew. We're going to go into the different phases that the Hebrew went into, we're going to go into how all the nations, all languages on this earth derived from the ancient Hebrew. The Chinese language, the Japanese, the Arabs, the Greeks, Latin, English, all these languages and all the alphabets that they carry today derive from the ancient Hebrew language. Because Hebrew the Hebrew word for Hebrew is ibaryat. Ibaryat, the root word in the word ibaryat is ibar. Ibar meaning the past. Because during the Tower of Babel, back during the flood, the time of the flood, see, before the flood, Adam, Eve, and all the descendants back then, they all spoke the Hebrew language. And Noah carried that language with him across the flood. His 3 sons also carried that language. Ham, Shem, and Japheth. They all spoke that ancient Hebrew tongue, the Lashawan Kodash, the holy tongue. But it was Nimrod when Noah's sons multiplied into nations, into the Shemites, the Hamites, and the Japhethites. It was at the Tower of Babel when Nimrod decided he wanted to build a tower up to the Most High. But seeing that that's not what the Most High wanted, the Most High was compelled to send his angels to confound their languages. We're going to read that here in Genesis chapter 11 and verse 1. Genesis 11 and 1 says, "And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech." The whole earth, because at that time, all the sons of Noah, they all spoke one language, and they all had one speech, and that speech was the Lashawan Kodash. But Noah's sons carried that language wherever they went. But at the Tower of Babel, we're going to read here also in Genesis chapter 11, we're going to read verse 6. And it says, "And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down there to confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord, the Most High, scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Most High did there confound the languages of all the earth, and from thence did the Most High scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So at this time, all Noah's sons, grandsons, great-grandsons, they all were at the Tower of Babel. The only one that wasn't there, that didn't get his speech confounded, was Eber, or Ibar, meaning the past. He and his seed carried that language, which Eber came from the seed of Shem. So Eber carried that ancient language with him because he wasn't at the Tower of Babel. So therefore the Most High didn't confound his tongue. So as these different nations got confounded, they all went off into different separate areas of the earth. Ham went down into Egypt. The Egyptian language was similar to the Lashawan Kodash, but it was of a different dialect. All the different nations that was confounded, they all had a piece of it, but they all spoke a different dialect. Therefore, they couldn't understand one another. So after the Tower of Babel, when the Most High had separated the nations, he separated them into 3 different groups and 3 different languages. One, the Hamites, they spoke Egyptian. They went down into Egypt. The Shemites, they went west and they spoke the Hebrew. The Japhetites, they spoke Sumerian. All these languages are basically similar in writing, but spoken differently in different dialects. And like I said earlier, Eber kept the original language and settled west, and so did the rest of the tribes of Shem, and they all kept that original language. But the first form of written language goes way back to about 1900 BC. It's called the Proto-Sinaitic script. That's where all the written languages today derive from. Even though the Egyptians, prior to the 1900 BC, they had a form of writing, but it wasn't really actual letters. The Egyptians had what was called hieroglyphics. They used pictures to put together. They used different pictures and put them together to form words and sentences. But the first form of written languages, of a written language, was the Proto-Sinaitic script. That's where all the languages and the alphabets derive from. And the Shemites, when they went down into Egypt, they adopted some of the Egyptian hieroglyphics to put it into their language, into their alphabet. Some of the characters that you will see later on came from ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, such as the first letter, the A, which is derived from the root word Allah, which is a symbol of an ox's head. That came from the Egyptians. Also, the word for head, or the Ra. The Ra came from the root word Ra'ash. That came from the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Also, the Mayam, the wavy lines of water, because Mayam means water. That came from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. So the Shemites, when they went down into Egypt, adopted some of those characters into their alphabet today, which is a 22-letter consonant alphabet. And I'm going to show you later the picture of these ancient languages. But out of the Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew came all the different Hebrew languages that were spoken back then, such as Phoenician. The Phoenician is a form of the ancient language. The Ugaritic, the Aramaic, and also the Arabic alphabet all came out of that Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew. And I'd say about 1000 BC, when the Greeks came into power, they adopted the ancient Hebrew alphabet. Because the Greeks, even though they had a spoken language, the Greeks never had a written language. But the Greeks, they spoke using vowels. The ancient language, they didn't speak using vowels, because all the 22 consonants of the alphabet was written without vowels. Just like today we have the vowels, the A, E, I, O, U, the A, E, O, U. They didn't have that in the ancient language. There was two particular sounds. The A sound, which derives from the first letter, which is Allah, and the I sound, from the root word ayan, meaning I. So the Greeks adopted the ancient Hebrew language, and they took the alphabet and they made a kind of a mirror image of it. They flipped it around and they started writing, instead of from right to left, with the way the Hebrew all wrote, they started writing from left to right. So when they started writing from left to right, the shape of the characters changed. And when you bring that up to date, I'm going to show you examples as you look on the board of the English alphabet, which also comes from the Greek, which also came from the ancient Hebrew language. All they did was take the letters, flip them around, and call it English. Because, like I said earlier, every language on this earth derived from the ancient Hebrew language, which is the Lashawan Kodash. But Israel, after they came out of Egypt, they went into Babylonian captivity. And what happened in Babylon? The prophets Ezra and Nehemiah, they adopted the writings, the Hebrew writings that we have today, which they call the modern Hebrew. The modern Hebrew actually is a form of Aramaic. The Aramaic script was adopted, I would say, about 440 BC, when we was in Babylonian captivity. And that's the language that they write today. The language that you see written in the Torah and the Tanakh, that's the script that Israel adopted during that time, during the Babylonian captivity. And they went away from the ancient script. And from that point on, up until today, that's the script that Israel have been using. The modern Hebrew script, which is basically Aramaic. But as we're going to see today, we're going to see that when they translated the Hebrew script into English, you find that a lot of words that you see written down in the English form is not quite what the words actually mean. Because Hebrew itself is based on concrete thoughts, while the Greek and the English is based on abstract thoughts. I'll give you an example of that. Let's go to Psalms 103. Psalms 103 and verse 8. Psalms 103 and verse 8 reads, Yahweh is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. Now when you read that in the Hebrew, the word here where it says slow to anger, the word for anger in the Hebrew is AHP. Now when you read in the original Hebrew form, the word that is placed here for anger is but the word AHP does not mean anger. The word means nose. Because like I said, the Hebrew language is based on concrete facts. The word anger is an abstract word. So when the Hebrews saw a man that is angry, what did they see? They gave an example, like when they see a bull. When a bull is angry and he's ready to charge, you see the nose of the bull flaring. So instead of saying that the nose is flaring, when they translated it, they used the word anger. Because like I said, anger is an abstract word, while Hebrew is a concrete word. The word nose is concrete. You can physically touch it and see it. So when you would read it in the ancient Hebrew, it would actually say Yahweh is merciful and gracious, slow to nose, and plenteous in mercy. Why? Because that Hebrew word for anger is really nose. But when you translate it, it doesn't make sense. So they had to go back to the original meaning. What did they mean when they meant slow to nose? And they went back to the original meaning of the words, because the words alone have a deep meaning. So when they said the Most High is slow to nose, it meant that he was slow to anger. So I'm going to show you how some of the original words came into play. For example, basic words. So now we're going to get into the Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew script, where the ancient Hebrew language derived from. So we're going to zoom in here on the board, and we're going to go over these different letters and the roots where they came from. Okay, now we're going to start here with the first letter. The first letter is Allah, or how to pronounce it today, Aleph. And the symbol, the original symbol for the is the head of an ox. Of course, Allah or Aleph means an ox's head. Now, when you go back into the original meaning as to how they came up with the word or Aleph or Allah, you have to check out the ox, because the Hebrews didn't just take letters and put names behind it. There was a meaning behind everything. Because when you check out an ox is a strong animal. They use the ox to plow fields, to carry heavy loads. So the meaning behind ox for Allah means strong, strength. As we go down, the next letter here, the Ba. The root word for the Ba is Bayat or Bet. Bayat means house or tent. When you check out the script or the hieroglyph for the letter Ba, you would see that it's basically a floor plan of a tent. You have the entrance over here, and you have a divider, because the side here would be for the men, and the other side behind that barrier would be for the women and the children. So the letter Ba comes from the root word Bayat, meaning tent or house. But why did they choose the word Bayat? Why did they choose this symbol? Why? Because the house or the tent was what? It was a place where the family resided. So the true meaning behind the word tent and house is family. So not only does Bayat mean tent or house, the meaning behind it is also family. Family. You're going to see why I emphasize the ancient meaning as I go on to break down certain words that they came up with. The next letter is Ga or Ga. Ga means to walk, to gather, or to carry. Because when you look at the ancient script of it, the Ga looks like a leg. The next letter, Da or Dalat. Dalat means door or to dangle. you check out the ancient script of it, the ancient hieroglyph of it, you would see that it looks like a flap. You see the opening here in the bow? This flap would come over and cover the door cover the tent as a door. So the word dalak means door, and it also means the hanging for the tent. The next letter, the ha, or hey, as they pronounce it today, means to look toward to reveal, a revelation. How did it come about that? Check out the hieroglyph. The hieroglyph shows a man with his hands pointing toward the heaven as he's trying to show someone something that's far off. So the word ha represent to look toward to reveal, or a revelation. The next character, the wa. The wa represent a tent peg. Because back then, they didn't have concrete houses like we did today. Israel was basically wanderers, and they basically dwelt in tents back then. And the tent, the reason it's shaped that way, because those pegs was what was used to secure the tent into the ground. So the meaning behind the word wow, or the wa, means to secure, because a tent peg was used to secure the tent onto the ground. The next letter we have is the za, or Zion. Zion means a sickle or a plow. And as you check out the ancient hieroglyph of it, you can see that the shape of it is basically an instrument that was used for plowing the field. And the hidden meaning behind sickle and plow means harvest, and it also means food. The next letter is cha, or from the root word chatz, meaning wall. When you check out the ancient hieroglyph, you would see that the ka is basically, they have it here sideways, and it has the dividers, because the wall is what was used to separate the different rooms in the house. So the other meaning for the word ha, or katz, which is wall, it also means to separate and to divide. The next letter we have is the ta, or tat, meaning mud or clay. And here's the ancient hieroglyph of it, a circle with an X on the inside. That's a symbol of basically a container, because back then they used clay to make or to store their food and other things in it. So that back then they would shape the clay into jars and containers so that they can store food and other things in it. So the other meaning for the word ta, or clay, would mean to store or to contain, as in a basket or in a jar. The next letter we have is ya, or the root word yad, meaning hand or arm. Because as you look at the symbol here, is the symbol of an arm and the hand right here. Because what was the hand used for? It was used for working, and it was also used for worshiping. So the other meaning for the word yad would be to work, or to make, or to worship. The next character we have on here is the ka, or the root word ka, meaning the palm of the hand. When you look at the ancient symbol, you would see that it's the image of a man's hand. You have the palm here, and you have the fingers in the middle. And the meaning behind the word kap also means to bend, to subdue, and to tame. The next letter we have here is the la, or lamad. Lamad means staff. And as you see the symbol here for the la, looks like a shepherd's staff, what he would use to guide the sheep out in the pasture. And the other meaning for the word lamad would be to ward, to bind, or to tie. Because that's what the shepherd used to bind the sheep, to tie them up, and to put them away. The next letter we have, the ma, or mayam. As we see, this letter also came from the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph, the wavy line. The mayam means water or sea. And the other meaning behind it, because when you check out the sea and the ocean is massive. 2/3 of the earth is made of water. So the other meaning of the word mayam would be mighty and massive, because the waters are mighty. There's nothing that can get in the way of water when it's ready to come. And it's massive. It takes up 2/3 of this earth. The next letter we have coming down is the na, or nun. The nun means a seed sprout. When you check out the hieroglyph, you will see that it's the picture of a seed and the roots below it. Because what is a seed used for? A seed is used for replanting and regrowing a plant, a vegetable, or whatever happened. When a tree grows up and that tree sheds its seeds, the seed goes into the ground and is reborn and brings back up that same tree again. So the word for nun, or a seed sprout, would mean offspring, heir, or to continue a generation. Because what does the seed do? The seed continues the generation or the lifespan of that tree. The next letter we have is the sa, or samak. The samak represents a thorn. As you can see from the hieroglyph here, it's the image of a thorn. And the meaning behind that also means to shield, to pierce, and to hate. The next letter we have on here is the I, or ayan, meaning an eye. That's plain and simple. You can check that out. That's also from the Egyptian hieroglyph. It's a picture of an eye. And what do you use the eye for? The eye is used for watching, to take heed, to cover. Those are the other meanings of the word ayan: to watch, to heed, and to cover. The next character we have here is the pa. The pa means mouth. The ancient symbol here, you see, is an open mouth. And what do you do with an open mouth? You speak. You blow the trumpet. You blow the ram's horn. So the other meaning for the word pa would be to speak or to blow. The next letter we have here is the tazad, or from the root word tazad, meaning side. The ancient hieroglyph, it's a man laying on his side in a curled up position. And the meaning also behind that would mean to hunt, to chase, or fortress. Next letter we have is the kwa, or kwap, meaning to go around or to circle. The ancient symbol, a circle with a line going through it. And what does that look like? It looks like the sun coming up over the horizon. So the other meaning for the word kwa would mean sun, horizon, or time. Of course, the sun was used to tell time, and it's also seen coming over the horizon. The next letter is the ra, or from the root word ra'ash, meaning what? The head of a man. And as you see, the hieroglyph is a symbol of a man's head. And the meaning behind that would mean to rule, first, or beginning. Because in the beginning, what was first created? Man was created. So the other meaning for the word ra'ash would be to rule, because man was given rulership and dominion over the entire planet Earth. It also means first and beginning. The next letter we have here is the sha, or shun, the root word, meaning teeth. The symbol here looks like two front teeth of an animal or a person. The two front teeth. And also the other meaning means double, repeat, or again. And the last letter is the tha, or thor, meaning to mark or a sign or signature. Of course, as you look at the symbol here, it looks like a cross or a T. When you sign your name, they always say, they put an X, say sign at the mark where you put your signature. So all they did was they took this star and put it on the side and made an X. And these are the roots of the ancient Hebrew language. All 22 letters coming from the Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew, going back to 1900 BC. Okay, now I'm going to go into some of the words that they created or they came up with in the beginning, and how did they derive as to what name they would put to it. Like the word father. The word for father is Abba. Abba means father. But how did the ancient Hebrews come out with these two letters to mean father? First, you'll have to go back to the ancient Proto-Sinaitic script, or the hieroglyph. The first letter we have here, or character, would be the A, or the Allah. As we saw earlier, what does the A or Allah means? It means strong or strength. Why? Because what is a father? He's supposed to be strong. He's supposed to be the strength. The strength of what? The Ba. What does the Ba come from? The word Bayat. Bayat meaning what? Tent or house. What does a tent or the house represent? It represents the family. So what is the Abba or the Father? The Father is the one who gives strength to the family. So when they came up with the word for father, the ancient Hebrews, they was thinking about all that in their mind. Because like I said earlier, the Hebrew language is concrete. It's based on concrete things and not abstract. So these two concrete things, the ox and the tent, which means strength and family, they came up with the word Abba, meaning the one who brings strength to the family. Okay, the next word we have is Amma, or mother. Now, how did the ancient Hebrews come up with the word Amma for mother? Same way they came up with the word for Abba, meaning father. The going back to the ancient Hebrew hieroglyph, Allah, meaning strong or strength. They use the word strong. And the Ma, from the ancient Hebrew hieroglyph, Maya, meaning water. So when you put these two together, what do you come up with? You come up with strong water. Now, strong water and mother doesn't really make any sense. But let's check out the word for water. The ancient Hebrews in the past, what did they do? They used to take water and mix it and boil the skin of an animal with it. And when they boil the water and the animal skin, it would come out into a gluey, sticky paste. And that gluey, sticky paste is what we call today glue. And what is glue used for? Glue is used for sticking things together, for binding stuff together. So the word strong water represents the substance that we use for binding objects together. So the word Amma, or strong water, represents the one who binds the family together. That's where they get the word Amma from, strong water, or the one that binds the family together. Okay, the next word we have here is bun. The word bun means son. Now what we're going to do is go back into the ancient script again and find out how did they come up with the word bun for meaning son. The first character we have here is the ba, from the root word bayat, meaning what? House or tent. The second character is the na, or the nun. The nun meaning seed or generation. So how do you put together the tent or the house with seed to come up with the word son? Simple. What is the other meaning for the word, for the letter ba or bayat? Is family, because where does a family dwell? In the tent. So the ba, which represent family, and the na, what does the na represent? Seed. What is a seed used for? A seed is used for growing or to reproduce what was original. Now how does that come up to son? The word bun, when you put it together, would represent the one who brings forth the family seed or the next generation. The one member of the family that brings back the seed, or the generation, which is who? The son. The son is the one that carries what? The seed. And what does he do? He brings back the family. So that's the word bun. Not only does it mean son, but it means the one who brings back the family seed or the generation. Okay. Now the next word we're going to go into is we're going to go into the name of the Most High. Because when you get into the Hebrew, everyone knows about the Hebrew tetragram, what they call the YHWH. That's what the Christians call the Hebrew tetragram. But in the Hebrew characters for it is the Yah, the Ha, the Wa, and the Ha. And you come up with the word Yah-Ha-Wa. Yahweh, meaning he is. Because the word Yah means he, whenever it's in the front. Because when you read the Hebrew, you're going from right to left. So when you see the word Yah in front of a verb, the verb here is Hawa. Hawa comes from the root word Hayah, meaning to be. The Wa here in the middle is used to make a word present tense. We're going to go into that later on in the class. But the Wa in the middle here of the Ha means it's making this word present tense. Just like in the English you add ing at the end of the word to make it present tense. In the Hebrew, you add the Wa to make it present tense. You put it after the first character of the verb, which would come right after the Ha. So you get Hawa. And the Yah in the front here means he. So the word Yahweh means he is. But when you go back and find out the meaning, is there a meaning behind the letters? Why did the Most High choose these letters to be in his name? Is it scriptural? We're going to find out. Because we're going to go back into the ancient Proto-Sinaitic script and find out what the original meaning of that name meant. Now the first character we have here is the Yah or the Yad. The Yad represents or means hand or arm. Now is there a scripture in the Bible that speaks about the hand or the arm of the Most High? Yes, there is. It's all over the scripture. But today we're going to go into Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 33. We're going to read verse 33 and verse 34. And it reads, "Did ever people hear the voice of the Most High speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard and lived? Or has the Most High essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptation, by signs, and by wonders, and by wars, and by a mighty hand?" Hear that? "And by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your power did for you in Egypt before your eyes." So yes, the word Yad represent what? The hand or the arm, that stretched out arm that the Most High used to deliver who? To deliver Israel. So the first character, the Yad, means the hand or the arm. The next character we have is the Ha. The Ha is what? The picture of the man with his arms pointed toward heavens, pointing towards something. Because the meaning behind The Ha is what? As I showed you earlier, to reveal, revelation, visions. These are all things that the Ha means. So the Ha here would mean to reveal. Now, is that in the scripture? Yes, it is. Let's go to the scripture and find out. Let's go to Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. Amos chapter 3 and verse 7 reads, Surely Yahweh's power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. Who does the Most High reveal anything to? His servants. Who are the servants and prophets of the Most High? Israel. So who was the Most High revealing it to? He was revealing it to his chosen people, the nation of Israel, those of Indian and Negro descent, scattered all through the four corners of the earth, especially here in North, Central, and South America. So this hand and arm of the Most High is doing what? Revealing. Revealing what? He's revealing his secrets. Who is he revealing it to? The prophets of Israel. So as we go on, we get to see the way the Most High's name is put together and the meaning behind it. Now let's go to the next letter, the Waw, or the Waw, which means a tent peg. What is a tent peg used for? To secure. To secure the tent to the ground. So what is the Most High securing? He's securing what? The Ha, the head, which is what? The revelation or the vision. Is that in the scripture? Let's go there and find out. Let's go to Numbers first, Numbers 12 and verse 6. Numbers 12 and verse 6 reads, And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. So how is the Most High coming to us? He's coming to us in visions. What is the Most High securing? The Most High is securing the vision. Let's also go to Colossians. Colossians chapter 1 and verse 26. Colossians 1 and verse 26 reads, Even the mystery which has been hid from ages and from generation, but now is made manifest to his saints. What is the Ha here representing? A man pointing towards something. A man revealing something. The man giving a revelation to something. So what is the Most High revealing and securing? The revelation, the vision, the mysteries. The mysteries that's been hid for ages. He is now revealing and securing them to who? Israel, his servants, his prophets. So the name of the Most High, when you put it together and you get the deep meaning behind it, the Most High name not only means he is, but his name means the hand or the arm that reveals what? His secrets. His secrets, his visions. And what does he do? He also secures what? The revelation and the visions to his servants, the prophets, Israel. So Yahweh, the name of the Most High, he's the one, he's the hand that reveals and secures the visions to the nation of Israel. That is our power. That is our true power and the only power on this planet Earth. And who is he the power of? He's the power of the nation of Israel. And as we continue, we're going to get into part 2 of this class. We're going to start getting into the alphabet, how it's written. We're going to also see the different types of Hebrew that's around the world that's been used. We're going to also see we've seen the Proto-Sinaitic Hebrew. We're going to see the Aramaic. We're going to see the Old Hebrew. We're going to see Phoenician Hebrew. We're also going to see pictures of Hebrew written all over the world. Of course, there are many different findings of Hebrew that archaeologists have dug up. We all heard of the Rosetta Stone. We've heard about the Ammonite stone, which I'm going to show you later on. We've heard about the Tel Dan stone, which dates back to about 850 BC, which talks about King David. And we have the Moabite stone, which goes back to about 1000 BC. So I'm going to show you all these things later on, and we're going to get into how to read, how to write, and how to understand and make up sentences using grammatical terms in the Hebrew. So with that, I'm going to say shalom until next time.
Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Yahweh Akam Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Yahweh Akam Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Hear, O Israel, Yahweh